you have to be very careful competing with those brands. They're so far ahead of the game. We got to make sure that the quality of juice we're providing and what people are drinking, it's got to be 10 times better than Don Julio, or why would someone even consider trying this?
This is awesome to learn about tequila and that it's not just a navel shooter. But I'm here with Miguel Luna. You are a founder of a tequila company. As you can see, Cala Fino is the tequila. And one of the things I wanted to start with is before we jump into the nuances of tequila sipping, your story is fucking mind-blowing, right? You didn't start in tequila, but it's always been a part of your family lore. Right. The story of I think it was your grandfather who gave as rewards at the end of the day, served the people who worked for him tequila. Or it's like an award.
Yeah. So it's always been in my family background, right? The whole tequila background. I come from Mexican background, obviously. So the tequila side of it was always instilled within the family. Ever since I was a kid, I remember tequila. And of course, back then, I had a different concept of it. To me, I didn't realize what exactly I was dealing with as a kid. As I got older, I got to understand a little bit more about it. My family never launched a brand. They never thought about launching a brand. It was only
But it was a secret recipe, right?
Well, they had their own formula.
Yeah.
My family had their own formula. My grandfather, grew up with a lot of the big brands, friends with, the families of the big brands. So he would get those barrels and he knew everything about tequila. And that's kind of where it got going. At the same time, with our juice, he would pick out the barrels and he knew what it was set aside for us. And that's where it got going, where it became known, within our circle, our friends, everyone around, hey, the family batch. Everyone nowadays talks about Pops, right? Pops is my dad. And Pops was always around giving everybody, all of my friends, hey, try this batch. Hey, try this. So whenever we went to a gathering, a party, a soccer game, whatever it might be, Pops always had the family batch around. And my buddies, without me even knowing, they would go to certain games. And while tailgating, they're like, dude, I was just with Pops and he had the family batch in the trunk and they're sitting there doing shots with my dad. So that's kind of like where everything started. It was not labeled at the time. It was just literally a family batch, small quantities at the time, until there was a big misunderstanding between me and my business partner Phil. One of my best friends now. The way I always tell people, Cala Fino is here by accident. It's a big misunderstanding. Never meant to have a brand, never even thought about getting into the liquor industry. We're soccer people, at heart.
And you played soccer.
Yeah, so I played soccer growing up, played soccer my whole life. I owe a lot of the opportunities that I have in life in general to soccer. It opened up a lot of doors for me. It opened up things that I would have never thought I'd be capable of. Friendships, I've made so many friendships. The locker room environment that I've shared has been fantastic. So growing up, I was blessed with a talent for soccer, which allowed me to get out of the neighborhood where I grew up. I grew up very humble in Vista, California. And, when I graduated high school, I remember my parents going, man, you made it. You graduated high school. Then I said, hey, I'm going to college. And they said, we can't afford college. What are you talking about? And I said, no, I got a scholarship. I got a soccer scholarship. I went to the University of Portland to play. And they said, well, what does that mean? I mean, I'm the first person in my family to graduate from college. So for them, it was a fantastic experience. For me, I got thrown into something new that I had no idea what was happening, right? I couldn't go to brothers or cousins or uncles, anyone, and say, hey, what's the college experience all about?
Right.
What am I getting myself into?
Right.
Get me ready for this. I relied on a lot of friendships, a lot of parents that kind of guided me through and helped me feel comfortable. So I got to know a little bit about that. I went on to Portland, played there, and that's where I kind of grew up a lot as a person, and I started to see life a little bit different, right? I started to think outside the bubble. I started to meet students there where their parents were doctors, their parents were attorneys, their parents were very successful. And I remember going to, Thanksgiving gatherings or a party, or, I'd go for the weekends, go hang out at someone's house, and I would see these nice, big, beautiful homes, go swimming. And I always thought to myself, wait, I kind of like nice houses. Hey, I like a pool in my backyard. So it just opened up my eyes, gave me something to look forward to, a goal out there. So, I eventually went on. I played soccer after college. I was blessed to have the experience of playing professional soccer. And that, again, taught me a lot of things. I met a lot of people, opened up a lot of doors, a lot of opportunities. And that's kind of how we stumbled on this project while I was playing soccer. We had a tradition. So I was playing with the San Diego Sockers at the time, and we had a tradition where I would take the family batch, take it into the locker room.
From the same kind of barrels?
Same barrel.
Did you have
that
like
Pops had.
like Reposado, Añejo?
It was always Reposado, right? At the time, we would always get a Reposado as a family batch because that is...
How big is a family batch?
Well, a barrel.
A barrel.
When I say
Okay.
family batch, meaning a barrel. So the way it was happening in Mexico, Theo, who is now the one that runs Kala Fino in Mexico for us, that's my uncle, my dad's brother, Theo Jose. And just to give you guys a little background, I always tell everyone, Theo Jose, oh, this is another Jose, blah, blah, blah. My dad is one of 12, right? 6 brothers, 6 sisters. All the brothers are named Jose. My grandfather was Jose, different middle name. So when I say Theo, I'm like, they all have nicknames because everyone is a Jose. So Theo is my uncle, the one that lives in Mexico now. He pretty much lives at the Tequilera. Now the project has grown to where we had to purchase our own Tequilera, and Theo runs it for us day to day. So he was the one calling my dad here in San Diego and saying, hey, guess what? We have a barrel. It's a special barrel. We're going to set this aside and we're going to leave this for the family. So my dad would say, perfect, send up, X number of bottles. So out of those bottles, I would take them in the locker room and I would share with the guys. After every win, it became a tradition. Hey, get the family batch. Hey, did Pop send you a bottle? Let's do a shot. So you can picture this. I'm going to play a professional soccer game. And before the game, as I'm getting my cleats out of my bag or, whatever I'm setting in my locker room, I always had a bottle of tequila and a bunch of small plastic shot glasses. So I was prepared. Hey, we better win. And we would just lay shot glasses across the table there in the locker room. And it became a tradition. After every win, the whole team would do a shot. It was like coach would talk, speech was done, and then it was cheers.
But this was just the regular Reposado. This wasn't
correct.
The special family batch.
Yeah, this was the Reposado coming. We do consider it the family batch because it was always the barrels that were controlled there by Theo and everyone, and they knew which barrel was special. So they would set them aside and say, hey, this is going to be for the family. We're going to let it age a certain amount of time. And then, we'll get it off and pull it aside for the family. So that's where it started. And it became known as, it was always Pops, Theo, the family batch. So, within our circle, everyone got to know that. Everyone got to know, the locker room. We're going to go in the locker room. We're going to have a shot, at the tailgates. We're playing at the sports arena in San Diego, and everyone knew, go look for Pop's car because there's going to be, shots in there. And people were going there before the games and having a shot with Pops. It happens to the day. Now that I'm done playing, I moved on to the management side of the team. So now I'm one of the assistant coaches, and I do the GM side of things with the Soccers now. And, I get there early. I'm there pregame a few hours before, trying to get ready for games. And someone always comes up, hey, I just talked to your Pops. Oh, really? What's he doing? In the parking lot, he's giving people shots. So same thing. Pops is always Pops, and he's always been happy to share our special family tequila. And Pops is, he's taught me a lot about how to treat people, how he has that Mexican mentality where it's always, mi casa, su casa, and Pops will treat you better than anyone, and he'll give you whatever he has.
So let's go back to it. You were talking about this was never going to be a brand. It was just something that we did, and it was sort of a tradition within our family. Like, what was the turning point where you're like, well, shit, this could be a brand? Like, where was that point?
It was a big misunderstanding between Phil and myself. So Phil is a very good friend of mine, like I said. And Phil just has a different mentality. Phil just goes, you think.
Is he a soccer player as well?
He's a former soccer player. He played professional soccer with the Soccers as well for a lot of years. He was a goalie. And he actually coached me. So that's how we started spending a lot of time together. Phil played for the Soccers in the 90s. Now I'm saying how old he is. So he played soccer in the 90s professionally. But then he had a dream saying, he said, I love this team so much, I would love to own the Soccers one day. And then in 2007, he started the process of, trying to look into buying the team. And in 2008, he purchased the Soccers. And in 2009, he launched. It was the season where he officially took over. That's when I played for him in 2009, and got to know each other a lot more. We were carpooling all the time because we lived right by each other. And we just became really good friends. He was family friend. It was that kind of a relationship. We had so much in common, just our upbringing. He comes from an Italian background. Same thing, first generation. Same as me, I come from Mexican background. I'm a first generation. But the work ethic that his mom and dad had, they came here with zero, and they built something. Same with my family, same with my parents. My dad immigrated here first, started with nothing, and he worked his ass off to give me an opportunity and give my family, my brothers, an opportunity and something bigger, right? And Phil was in the exact same boat. He was in the exact same situation. So that's kind of where me and him hit it off, learned a lot about each other, and we became really good friends. In 2016, I was getting close to the end of my playing days. My body was beat up. Yeah. It was too many years of playing. My ankles were always sore. I mean, my back, everything. I was at the point where I was saying, hey, dude, I can't go another off season because, in the off season, I take a few months off to let my body heal, but then trying to get fit again and trying to get ready for the preseason again. I'm like, my body's just kicking my ass. I don't think I can do it anymore. So we started talking, well, what's your transition? What are you going to do? You're too young to just retire, sit on your ass and do nothing. What's next? I don't know. Um, and I remember in 2016 holiday season, we're out having a few pictures after a practice or a game, and we're sitting there and having a beer, and I said, "Hey, Phil, by the way, I'm going to import tequila." My thought, and I had talked to Theo, was I said, "Hey, Theo, I need a favor. I need you to pull a barrel for me. I need the family batch, and we're going to run one barrel, and I want to engrave bottles with the Soccer's logo, and I'm going to put every player's name on it, their number, and I'm going to give it to them as a gift for Christmas." And he goes, "Yeah, no problem." And then he said, "Well, the barrel is going to yield more than, 20 bottles." And I said, "Well, I'll take the rest. I want the rest." And he goes, "Okay, no problem." So my thought was, hey, I'm going to split 200 bottles with all my buddies in the locker room. So I started going around the locker room. "Hey, how many bottles do you want?" "Oh, sign me up for 2, 3. I have my notepad. I'm making 2, 3, 4, whatever. And then that night, we're having a couple of beers, and I told Phil, "By the way, I'm importing tequila. Do you want in?" Those were my exact words. I said, "Do you want in?" And he goes, "What are you talking about? What tequila?" And I said, "I'm doing the family batch." He goes, "All right, so the family batch, they're going to give you the recipe, and they'll have that recipe for you. Won't sell it to anybody else." And I said, "Dude, I'm family, of course." And he goes, "All right, if you can make that happen," he goes, "let's go. I want in." And I said, "Perfect." I said, "How many bottles do you want?" And he looked at me and he goes, "Let's just go 50-50." And I went, "Wait, what the fuck are you talking about?" I was like, this guy's the big spender. He wanted 10, but I'm saying bottles, and he thought percentages. And his mind just went to a whole new level. So right off the bat, he goes, "No, dude, if you're going to do this, if you're going to import," he goes, "why don't we do it right? Let's just, let's start a brand and blah, blah, blah." And he got excited about it. And right off the bat, I put a stop to it. I was like, "Dude, no, that's not what I was saying. I'm saying I want to import a barrel, have fun with it, share it with our buddies, and that's it." And his mind just took off. Anyways, a picture or two later, we were on
the deal was done.
We were on to a handshake and a hug, and like, all right, I guess we're importing tequila, not knowing anything about it, right? I thought I could just put in a name, slap a label on the bottle, and that was it. And then he goes, "All right, start looking into it." Maybe a week later, I did some research, everything, and I'm like, holy crap, this is way more than, this is like serious stuff. And I went back to him and I said, "Dude, this is too difficult. It's too much. This is like serious stuff. It's not like messing around like we're saying. Just import the bottles and, hey, we're going to throw them in the trunk and, smuggle them across and sell them." I said, it's not like that. So we started looking into it. And I mean, next thing you know, the accident, that was in late 2016. We started, getting off the ground with the ideas. At first, even the name, something as simple as registering the name, registering for permits, all of that, we did it in-house. And, I remember taking on a lot of that myself because I wanted to learn about it. I wanted to know how it was done. Hey, why is it done? I remember talking to, state, federal permits and everything. And, we had attorneys helping us out, but I did a lot of that just because I wanted to learn and I wanted to know what it was about. That way, at some point, I could actually talk about it like I'm doing now, where I know what's happening. I know the story. We had a few opportunities where some of the bigger agencies and bigger companies were coming in and saying, "Hey, look, give me X amount and we'll deliver you a finished product. You give us 6 months, 8 months, you'll have a finished product. We'll give you a bottle. We'll design your bottle, design everything, and we'll tell you what's successful. And, we looked at it. Me and Phil met a few times, and he goes, dude, all right, they're going to charge you whatever, 100 grand. Why don't we use that money and, we enjoyed ourselves. They need to travel to Mexico, once a week, once a month, whatever it might be. Why don't we travel? Hey, they're going to invest money doing this. Why don't we do that? And I'm going, okay, that's not a bad idea. We get to go out, hang out, and we get to be a part of this process. So, we did everything from start to finish, everything from the name, from designing the bottle. Obviously, we had help with designers and all that, but everything that you see in the bottle, the concept, everything was done by us. Funny story with the bottle. When we traveled down to Mexico, I said, they took us out the night before. And we're in Mexico, went to a restaurant. They took us out and said, look, tomorrow morning, you guys have a meeting with the bottle designer. We went to this restaurant that must have had 100 different bottles of tequila. And they said, look at all the bottles, figure out what you like, take pictures of what you like, because you need to have a concept. You need to have an idea of what you want in your bottle design. And we said, okay. So he's looking, he's doing his thing. I'm looking, doing my thing. I'm taking pictures. So the next morning when we sit with the bottle designer, he goes, he's talking to me in Spanish and I'm translating for Phil. And I said, okay, look, I like a square bottle. I like a big lip at the bottom. I think it's classy when the bottle has a lot of glass at the bottom. I like the square look. And then I look at Phil and I said, hey, translate. Hey, he wants to know, what do you think about bottle? What do you want? Very first thing Phil says, I want a round bottle that fits in my hand. And the guy looks at me and I'm about to translate. And the guy goes, no, I understood that. He's like, so you want square, he wants round. What are we doing? And I said, holy shit, we didn't even talk about it. Like, we want two different things. And he goes, I have an idea. Hold on. Maybe there's a way where I can get you your square bottom, big glass, and I could get him his round bottle where it fits in his hand. And the bottle design is actually just that. They measured his hand that fits perfectly up top where he feels comfortable pouring. And then I got my square bottom with the big glass.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's a super unique shape. So a question for you. All right. So you said a few minutes ago, go into the bars and look at the hundreds and hundreds of bottles of tequila. Mm-hmm. There are so many tequila makers. How do you come into a market that is that saturated? Like, what makes you special?
For us, it's been a fun project. We've learned a lot. We've definitely made a lot of mistakes along the way. But it's been a fun process. Competing with the big boys, right, is a big challenge.
Yeah. How do you do that? I mean, Don Julio pretty much owns the market, right?
I mean, you're talking about, the big guys, right? Don Julio, Casamigos, Herradura. There's tons of brands out there that have been around for a lot of years, and they have the big marketing dollars. What they spend in a day, in a week, we have that budget for, probably a year. Yeah. I don't know. But right now, our whole approach has always been organic. I've always focused more on getting out to events, right? We want people to try the juice. And I've always told people, try the juice, and I promise you can put this up against any other tequila out there, and you will love it, right? Now, how do we get people to try it? How do we get the brand out there?
Yeah, how do you do that with...
that's the challenge, right? That's the challenge of trying to grow a brand of tequila when we're taking a little bit of a different approach. We don't have a celebrity behind it. I've never, that has never been a concept from the beginning. However, as time goes on and as we're starting to grow and we're starting to see what is out there, I'm like, well, maybe that might not have been a bad idea, right? But so far, I really do believe we're on the right path. We're growing organically. We are trying to, our marketing strategy is putting the juice to lips. Juice to lips. That's what it is. And we'll stay on track and hopefully slowly educate people and say, hey, this is what tequila is supposed to be.
Yeah.
We have recently got a certification from Tequila Matchmaker. We're certified as non-additive, so we're additive-free tequila, which not too many tequilas out there have the certification right now. And that's helped us when I can talk to people and say, try this. I promise you it's good juice. And, that's the one thing that we've always had behind us. No one has ever complained about the juice.
Yeah. It's interesting, Tito Beveridge, who's the founder of Tito's Texas Vodka, that whole thing, he started in a very similar way. It was just purely out of love, right? Like love and interest in the process and the packaging. And your story reminds me a lot of his story. And I think it's very brave to go into a market that is, where Don Julio and Herradura, that is very, very hard to do. But you also have this other partnership. You've got this arena thing happening in September. Talk a little bit about, I saw the beautiful pictures of this. It's an arena football stadium.
Yeah. So we have, at first it started off as Kala Fino Arena, new arena being built in Oceanside, California. It's almost done, right? They've done a fantastic
gorgeous
job.
Yeah.
Right now, naming rights went to Frontwave Credit Union. So now it's going to be the Frontwave Arena. It'll open up mid-September. And it's part of the same ownership group. Right now everything has been privately funded. So it's the same small group that's
so great
involved.
For you guys.
Yeah. So it's been fantastic. That's been a fun project, stressful project. But now we're almost there. September 17th, I believe, we have the Simone Biles tour coming, and that'll be the first event there. So as soon as the U.S. Women's Olympic team gets back from Paris, they're going to have their first show at Frontwave Arena. So it'll be fantastic for us.
And you're going to be serving the tequila there too, right? It's not just this arena. There's going to be a tasting room. A bar? How is this partnership structured?
Yeah, so the way it is, obviously the arena set up for concerts, sporting events, everything. So there's going to be plenty of bars there. We will have a Kala Fino VIP experience. So it'll be a private lounge within the arena. And it'll be all about Kala Fino. It'll be Kala Fino education. It'll give us a chance to pour some craft cocktails within the arena. Of course, we'll have the main concourse bars. There's restaurants in the arena, and they'll be full of Kala Fino, different types of drinks. My personal favorite, I love to just sip on it.
Yeah.
Right. I love sipping on the juice myself. So that's why, when I talk to people, I can honestly and freely talk about the tequila, the juice, and I can stand behind it because I know what's in there.
So one thing, and then I want to kind of go through what each one is, because we were talking about there's the navel shooter, the Reposado, and then it gets increasingly more complex. Mm-hmm. How did you come up with the name Kala Fino?
So originally, we wanted the brand to be something with Luna. So we wanted to make it, give back to the family name, my last name Luna. So we said, hey, we're doing this for Grandpa. We're doing this for Dio. We're doing this for Pops. It'll be something Luna. We went to trademark, and anything you can think of with Luna was already trademarked under the spirits industry. So right off the bat, that was a no-no. Then they gave us options, hey, why don't you just name it, Casa this, or name it this random name. It meant nothing to us. So we said, you know what? No, I can't stand behind it when it's a name that I don't believe in. So we started messing around with just ideas, names, and then we played on words. That's what it was. We were trying to introduce a fine tequila, and we are two California guys at heart, and we love living in California. So we played on the words, Cali for California and Fino for the fine lifestyle and the fine tequila that we have. So that's how we came up with that name. The leather labels, every label on our bottle is leather. Yeah. So it's unique. It's branded. And the reason for that is my grandfather, when I was growing up, I'd go to Mexico, visit my grandfather, and there was a small little shoe factory in the back of the house. And I smelled leather when they were working on leather shoes. And it reminded me, the leather just reminds me of my grandpa. So it takes me back to my childhood. So we put leather on there. So whenever I'm having a drink, whatever, I can always smell the leather. And then it just brings me back to my grandpa, who I was very close with. He's deceased now, but I was very close to him. He's very special to me. And that was for my grandpa.
Yeah, we were talking, and it's a beautiful story. I mean, I think one of the cool things about your brand is that you can bring it back directly to family, right? Like there's an emotional element to the name and the brand and the process and the story, and it's super cool. And we were sitting here earlier, and I had this perception, and I know it's wrong now after our conversation, that tequila is like the party drink, right? This is what you do in Cancun, naval shooters, whatever. I could not have been more wrong, right? Because what you're telling me, the story is that tequila is, it's a sipper. It can be paired with food. And so I'm wondering if you can walk us through the different kinds of tequila and kind of what that experience is as we're all sipping the actual tequila.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Tequila back in the day had a reputation for being, hey, just party, get the whistle out, take a shot, get the lime, and you get the salt to mask the bad taste in tequila.
Yep.
That's what it was known for. I'm sure a lot of us had that bad college experience where you had a little too much tequila. And then when I tell people sometimes, hey, try the tequila, they go, oh, get it away from me. I can't even smell tequila because I had a bad experience and I won't touch tequila. I always tell people, here, you don't have to drink it. Smell my tequila. And as soon as you smell it, it's just a different ball game, right? Tequila has evolved so much in the last few years. Now it's actually a classy drink. Now people sip on tequila.
It's a very high-end, have it with dinner. It's not like a before dinner cocktail. It's like actually a part of the meal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'll run down the line of our particular ones. We do carry 4 different profiles. The first one being the Blanco, which is your traditional straight up tequila. That is tequila at its purest form, right?
It smells like my ex-husband. I just want to put that out there.
Really? Yeah. That's interesting. I don't even want to ask. But
it's not a bad thing.
So yeah, the Blanco is unaged, never touches a barrel.
And this is also a sipper, right? Like you.
Yes. So okay. All of our profiles are meant to be sippers. However, for your more traditional, your margaritas, your mixed drinks,
right,
you usually want to mix with a Blanco, or your higher end margarita, your higher end mixed drink is going to be your Reposado, which is the second one in line for us. The Añejo is more, I would say, your regular sipper. You don't want to mix that much. However, there is a lot of places nowadays that use our Añejo for an old fashioned. So yeah,
really?
Believe it or not, that añejo plays very well with an old fashioned. So you're doing the exact same thing as an old fashioned, but you are using tequila as the preferred spirit.
That is really cool.
So yeah, with the Blanco, like I said, unaged, untouched. That one is tequila at its purest form. Then you go down the line. The next one will be the Reposado. Reposado by law has to be aged in a barrel 2.5 months. After 2.5 months, it can get pulled, and then you can label it as a Reposado. With ours, we age it to the max. So at about 8 to 12 months is when we taste barrels, right? Usually our barrels will be anywhere after 10 months. They'll be ready, and we can say, hey, that's where we want our Reposado to be at. Some barrels, we let them age a little bit longer just on taste profiles. Dio is down in Mexico. He's a lucky guy, gets to do a lot of the tasting with the barrels. And then I fly down, and same thing. I get to do tastings on barrels, and then we kind of figure out when they're ready to go, and we pull and go from there. The añejo. So just so you know, it's the same process. The tequila gets made, it becomes a Blanco. From there, we designate certain amounts or certain batches that are going to be Reposado, Añejo, and they just kind of go in barrels. They get set aside. They go into the cava, and that's where they're being aged.
What is the extra añejo?
Extra añejo. So that one is a little bit of a special treat, right? The extra añejo, we're aging for a very long time for what you can consider an extra añejo. Our extra añejo sits in the barrel 7 years. And then we go an extra year, pull it out, and double barrel it with a cognac barrel. So that one, when people see the color, when they smell it, when they taste it, a lot of the times they're very confused because it's a complex finish.
Does it smell like a whiskey? Is it like that barrely?
If you give someone like a full shot or a snifter with the extra añejo, and you don't tell them it's tequila, you're going to get different answers. You're going to get different answers. Everything from like, wait, is this a cognac? Wait, is this a whiskey? Is this a bourbon? Because it's very complex. So that's what you get from that. Even the añejo, sometimes it has more of the tequila notes, the hints of the tequila. However, just the aging time on it, it gives you a different profile than, your traditional Blanco tequila, where it's very much tequila forward.
What is the distribution strategy, right? Like, how are you going to get your bottles on shelves?
Yeah, so right now we're partnered up with a distributor in California. Right now, Southern California was our biggest market, and that's where we decided. We said, hey, we're gonna focus on our backyard, go from there. We've done it very organically. I've been very blessed with a very good team. Everyone right now that touches Kala Fino, meaning that works for Kala Fino, has to have a strong family tie to it. Everyone has been fantastic. Everyone loves the brand. They love going in there, hanging out with pops, hanging out, in the offices. It's that feel, that environment, the family vibe to it, right? We have our sales team that is out there introducing the product. They are going out there, talking to people, educating on, hey, this is a different kind of tequila. It's not, just your average tequila. It's not something that you have with a lime. And that is the strategy right now. We're distributing with one of the biggest distributors in California, Southern Wine and Spirits. And, along with them, we have our sales team, Brent in Orange County, he's educating everyone, Orange County, going up to the LA area and trying to educate people on why you sip on a good tequila. In San Diego, we have a couple people out there in the streets, same thing, educating people.
Yeah.
And that's our biggest thing, educating people as to why you should try our tequila compared to any other choices and all the other choices that are out there that have maybe 100 times or 1,000 times the marketing budget that we do. And, we just have to play a different role in the market right now.
Don't you think, though, when you're going up against Don Julio and these big kind of venerable brands that have been out there, do you feel like you kind of have to be 10 times better and faster at everything you do when you're in a market like that? It's hard to go into a market with the older, more established brands.
100%.
Yeah.
You have to be very careful competing with those brands. And I don't even know if competing is the right word, right?
Yeah.
Because they are, the respect that you have for those guys and those brands, they're so far ahead of the game. We're just little kids. We're literally in diapers right now. We're trying to learn how to crawl in this space, right? Those guys are running. They run this industry, and we're a little guy. They have no idea who we are, right? We're just a little guy right now trying to learn how to crawl. We're trying to learn how to get out there. We're trying to follow in their footsteps to a certain point, but we're still at the point where we can focus on being craft. We can focus on our juice. We can focus on making sure our quality is 100%. And we got to make sure that the quality of juice we're providing and what people are drinking, it's got to be, like you said, it's got to be 10 times better than Don Julio, or why would someone even consider trying us, right? Casamigos, same thing. Their marketing, their growth has been fantastic, right? They opened up a lot of space for a lot of us little guys in the market. Now people actually hear tequila and they respect the word tequila. And that's where we come in. Now it's our job to educate people more so they try our juice, and we have to stay true to the quality.
Right. Yeah. And it's, the consumer market has shifted in the last 15 years for all kinds of liquors and spirits and beer. Like the number one selling beer in the United States right now, do you know what it is?
I would guess Corona.
No, it's a non-alcoholic beer.
Really?
Right? Athletic beer is the number one selling beer in America right now. But what is happening is that consumers are becoming more curious about different brands, right? It's a millennial. Can I? You cannot say no to this one. Can I do the sniff test as I'm passing it? It's like cigars.
Okay, let me teach you a trick.
Okay.
To good tequila.
Okay, show me.
Wash your hands with it. And then just let it dry out a little bit.
Oh.
And then smell it.
It's very nice.
Okay. So
woodsy.
If it's 100% tequila and it's good quality, when you pour the tequila, and it could be any expression, on your hands, wash your hands with it, let it dry out. You should only get hints of agave.
Is that what I'm smelling?
Because
it's very floral.
Exactly. If you get hints of alcohol when you do that, or if you get no smell, if it disappears, you're not dealing with high quality tequila.
That is really cool.
So yeah, it's a cool little trick that they taught me, down in Mexico, when you're doing tastings, when you're doing.
It's a shame to waste it, on your hands, but it does smell really, really nice. One of the things I know you're on a schedule here, but it is really cool to sit down with an entrepreneur who's also been a soccer player, who is starting, a spirit company, who has such deep respect and appreciation, not only for your art form, but for your family. And it's really cool to meet someone with the core values that you anchor yourself to, because in the startup world, core values are something that you put on a pitch deck, and as soon as you get the money, your core values go into the dustbin of history. But I can see just talking to you how important your family is, and so
awesome. I mean, I'm glad it comes across that way, because honestly, I still have family. Everyone that's there is like family, right? Everyone that touches Kala Fino treats it like family. And that is the project that I always tell people. This is a passion project. This is a family project. This is a family project that we stick by. My dad, Pops, he is at Kala Fino every day. He is the hardest working dude at Kala Fino. Pops is at the office before anyone, and he's there after everyone. And then on the weekends, he comes in just to hang out. That's like his little man cave. Pops hangs out at Kala Fino seriously 7 days a week. On the weekends, Sundays, he'll call me, hey, what are you doing? Because I live right by our headquarters. And he'll call me, hey, what are you doing? Nothing, Pops. I'm trying to sleep in today. I'm trying to lounge, hang out. Hey, I'm over at Kala Fino. Come here. I'm watching this game. Just come have a drink with me. I'm like, where are you? At your office? Yeah. Come watch a game with me. He has his TV there, and he's hanging out.
Yeah.
Because he loves being there.
Yeah.
And, it's fantastic. Everyone else that's around the project, same thing. And that is the way I would love to run this as long as possible. Yeah. Where it's family oriented, where everyone that's around it gets that vibe, where everybody that comes into Kala Fino feels that welcoming Luna family vibe that I was raised with and that I believe in. That's what makes me happy. That's what's true to me. I love hosting people. I love talking to people, but I love making them feel like they're a part of my family. I love having people say, man, your family's awesome. Hey, your dad this, or, my mom. Just that side of it just makes it special for me.
Yeah, it's a beautiful story, and it definitely comes through in the final product. It's just beautiful. It smells good. And thank you so much for the Tequila Education 101. We should probably continue this at some point, because I feel like we just sort of scraped the surface of the blue agave. And it's nice to meet you. So thank you for taking the time today.
Thank you guys for having me in. This is fantastic. Get to hang out with you guys, talk a little bit about the juice, talk about tequila, how far tequila has come along.
Beautiful. I mean, just looking at the intentionality of every single part of your product is really cool. It's art.
Yeah, we decided not to take any shortcuts on everything from the juice to the agave rope on the neck.
Oh, that's agave on there?
That's agave rope. That's real wood tops. Leather labels. When I remember when we were designing everything, and some of the bartenders and some of the people in the industry would go, wait a minute, you're putting leather labels on each one of your bottles?
I actually really think it's cool.
Yeah, right.
It's just texture,
Everyone just said, dude, the bottle's got to be worth more than the juice. And I'm like, I don't know, figure it out. everyone always makes fun of me because that's always my go-to.
It's distinctive,
we'll
and
figure it out.
Yeah, I think in a market like a tequila market, it's important to be distinctive the way that you are. And it definitely has a top shelf artistic feel to it. So thank you, Miguel.
Awesome.
Just a joy to sit with you.
Thanks for having me in.